And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the second half of this broadcast. Welcome back to the second series. We just wrapped up with Maru versus Rainer, and now we have returned with a Cure versus a Trigger. It's going to be another best of 5 TvP. Once again, another elimination match. Fun fact, the winner of this series plays against Rainer in the next round. So best of luck. Best of luck to the two players. Vetoes are currently underway, and we will soon be jumping on in. Bearing in mind that, okay, for today's broadcast, it's only 2 series. Also bearing in mind that right after the RSL, we have the podcast. The podcast is going to be right after that. We have a lot to discuss. There's a lot going on, of course, and hopefully it doesn't take too long. As I mentioned previously during the last stream, we have been going through all the TLMC maps. I did have a cheeky stream just before this, so you could see my judging process and my thought process, going through all the maps and kind of what I take into consideration, what I look for, what I don't look for, and how I come to my conclusions. So I did stream that earlier today. I don't know if I'll do another stream like that, as I have to very quickly kind of wrap up the judging process. I've got 4 days. We got 4 days left to judge, Pappy. So I gotta wrap up, gotta finish. So I can be working on that whenever I have some free time. Otherwise, we have our 5 remaining maps. So we have our picks. Here we go. We have our vetoes done. Game 1 is going to be on Cenotaph. Game 2, Ultra Love. Game 3, Maganatha. Game 4, Tokamak. Game 5, Leylines. Okay. So great to see one of the newer maps showcased early on. Then we have a more standard kind of map pool thereafter. Cenotaph is a really interesting one. This is also going to be a TLMC 21 map. It is very open, very open. It favors aggression quite a bit. There's a lot to get into. Let's go. Let's jump into game number 1. Yo, we introing? We introing? So in the top left, we have Trigger. In the bottom right, we have Cure. If you're in the chat, predictions are now open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat. This is a prediction for the entire series, not just for the game. And Cure does open up with the proxy across the map. Oh. He's checking. Oh, he sees it. He knows. Let's go. S the Trigger. Oh, my apologies.
I think it does.
My apologies. I didn't have their volume up. My apologies.
Goes to the outside. Oh,
Wicked.
He's having a bad day. Okay, and he goes back in.
Oh, can he get it? He
can. He can still hit it.
Oh, that sucks.
Is that just
so
game?
Bad here for Cure.
Is that just game?
No.
I mean, that heavily delays the opener here by Cure. Cure starts a racks back at home. Ay, ay, ay.
I mean, first barracks denied. It wasn't even like it was spotted early in the attack where you can cancel and go, okay, whatever. I'm going to do something else now.
It's denied like 75%. That's
No game audio?
So bad. I think it's really smart.
The game audio should be playing at the moment.
Because the
Should be good.
actually don't impact Cure's build at all
That's
up
a good
until this
point.
point. But because it's 75% done, Trigger had to keep those 2 probes on the map for an extended period of time in case another SCV came in to finish it. And so Cure just delaying the cancel until he's ready to build the command center allows him to get just a little bit more value. You know, maybe that's like 50 or 60 minerals that Trigger could have mined with the probes, but instead is down the drain. Mitigates some of the damage. If you were wondering why the barracks had not yet been canceled, that's why. And actually, it's not even going to be a fast orbital behind this. It'll be 2 gas factory and a delayed second CC, excuse me.
Yeah, so double gas opener, delayed at natural base out of Cure, going for a more tech-heavy start, and right now the pressure is on Cure. The pressure is on Cure to get some damage done to make up for the lackluster opener, as Trigger does take a lead early on. Twilight Council follow behind this. Talking about the map itself here, it is a very open map regarding to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th base locations. Because of that, I can see players having a really hard time being the defender on this map, but we'll see who's going to be the aggressor.
Command center, I'm sorry, a barracks where you could basically hide it there and even put units behind it when it lands to keep it safe there too. So, you know, it's maybe a little bit too much of an on-the-nose strategy for what the map is. The Trigger just decided to check for it and spotted it. So now there's some pressure coming in here. Now there is a 3rd command center started, but let's keep in mind, Trigger is on his 2nd base. He's mining from it already. He's making probes. We don't really have much to defend here right now. There's an Adept and there's Stalkers out here.
Is he going to try and defuse the Widow Mine with the Adept Shade? Show me your skills, Trigger. All right, Cure is going to unburrow.
Behind this, they're throwing down gateways. No major gateway explosion.
Fires on the adept right before the shade
Oh,
triggers.
gets an SCV.
Can't actually dodge the shot. We'll see if Trigger's going to go for that again. It's a very small window.
Oh,
It's one of the reasons why you don't see players go for it
Nice
particularly
pick up.
often. Usually you just have too many spinning plates back at home or elsewhere on the map, so Trigger is just going to back off. And behind this,
Trigger, he does go for the Robo. So very safe play out of Trigger. Robo on 2 bases. Oh, gets a
The
probe.
development is pretty normal. He went for the relatively fast Twilight Council. We have 1 Robo coming in. I think this is 2 gateways already done for Trigger. I believe I heard one finishing into the natural expansion.
There's at least 2
So
gates.
I think he just wants to go for the Blink Stalker pressure build. The command center's so late, so everything kind of comes out later, right?
We have a 3rd gateway for Trigger. I believe that's the 3rd gateway.
Warp Prism out here and try to move out on the map. I think you're going to be in pretty good shape. He starts the Warp Prism, by the way. Blink is 80% done.
And Trigger is getting in position to try and intercept the drop. Doesn't know exactly where it's going to come from just yet. Although this pylon very well placed. Trigger with excellent SimCity so far on this map and also scouting.
Nice control.
Really nice response. Man, if Blink was just a little bit faster. I guess it would have taken 2 Chrono Boosts to get it there in time to deal with this drop, but...
So with Blink finishing up, and now we can move out, the Prism is out, and we'll see if Cure can keep up with this aggression. Remember, everything was delayed for Cure. Late racks, late factory, late everything because of the initial opener, and we'll see if Trigger can punish this. Likewise, there's a lot of room here to get into the main.
Stalker, pressure. And yeah, I see one.
The second one just now finished. Trigger actually able to get in here before that bunker is done.
Kind of a weird engage to go for 2 SCVs. I think he would have been better served just going into the main. Now the tank is set up. You can see that there's a wall up here above the tank. This is what everybody does now. Okay, is he just gonna go
Pushing into the natural. Gets 2 more
hold on
CVs,
a
4 in
second.
total.
Cure's pretty smart. He actually keeps the Marines kind of pushed back. Trigger is gonna be
Trigger,
hit
he
pretty hard.
does pull away in time.
Nice micro to pull away the probes, is able to deal with that situation. Warp Prism is going to go into the main base with 4 Stalkers, going to try and find what damage it can.
And you can see how large the main is, so we can get behind the mineral line.
And the Supply Depot SCV both get taken out.
Doesn't lose any Stalkers.
Supply Depot also in danger, but Trigger deciding to play it safe. Just going to pull back for now. As the 3rd Nexus nearing completion. How much more is Trigger to be able to get done? I feel like the window is closed, more or less, for this harassment to start, and I'm expecting Trigger to really begin powering up at home in a moment. As soon as that 3rd base finishes, minerals get saturated here at the 3rd.
Well, behind this, Trigger, his 3rd base was at a pretty reasonable time. Remember, it was only 3 gateways, so 3 gate blink into a 3rd base, charge on the way, gateway explosion. We're just missing the Forge for +1. Up there it is. Forge is done, +1 is on the way. So really standard setup here by Trigger. Right now, the pressure's going to be on Cure. Cure, there's no indication yet that he wants to commit. We'll see if he throws down extra Raxes or a 3rd TC.
Now, Cure was up to a late start because of the catastrophe of being spotted early with the very first barracks that was going to float up into the main. So he's going to try to get some extra shots in here with the auto turret, which I think is not a bad idea. You're always going to get at least 2 probe kills, although apparently not that time.
It's nice some mining. For the cost of energy, it's not too bad here for Cure. And
There was no 3rd CC, right?
I don't think so. I'm looking at the minimap. I don't see
it's too early for
3rd
3rd
CC.
CC.
So
Yeah.
I think it's still just two base here for Cure. And on Trigger side of things,
So Cure, he throws down 2 more Raxes. He's getting up to a 5 rack setup. Based on the location of the Raxes, it looks like a 2 base all in. Yeah.
7 or 8 gateways.
So we have 5 Raxes, no add-ons here. +1 is about to finish up, and Cure, he may pull the boys with this.
Immortal, it's going to be very mobile as well in the center of the map.
So he saw that, assuming he was looking. Now with Blink Stalkers, this would be an incredible thing to intercept. But instead he's going to come in here, and he can just drop on top of this tank and maybe do another warp-in.
Gets a tank.
That's
Feels like
so
a-
Not
funny.
bad.
Feels
Feels like a Brood War
I was
move.
going to say, it looks like a little Brood War drop on a siege tank. Now, meanwhile, this bigger drop is inbound here.
I don't think Trigger
You can see the add-ons on the production tab. So it looks like Cure, he got those 2 extra Raxes, and he is getting add-ons. So that's indicative of a longer game. That's indicative of a 3rd CC.
Get enough to try to fight this here now. Meanwhile, Cure's going to push, and he's going to actually do a
nice
pretty
reaction.
good- I mean, this is
Trigger, he's all over
a
this.
very awkward drop here for Cure because he
He shuts it down.
saves the medevacs, but at the expense of the units
Cure
that
pushes.
were there to drop.
Behind
There's
this, does he get a
attack coming in here. I
CC?
think Trigger might have enough. We got to see. Cure needs to have a really good position. I don't know why the tanks were going backwards for a second there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Kier committed to that drop in the main base. I guess he just...
Again,
really
Kyrie's quite dedicated here, but he lost the drops in the main. Oh, is that the boys being pulled? Towards the left-hand side. No, the SCV didn't get caught out. No, but it is a 2-base all-in.
Run through the healing zone, so getting a little bit of a top-up right there on the HP.
So I'm just dying a little bit.
As Trigger's trying to move into this awkward position to intercept.
The SCVs, they push too far forward.
Or stop, I should say, that push coming in.
Ideally, you want the SCVs with the army, with the all-in, but they overextended.
Eliminated here for Cure.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking so bad for Cure right now. Trigger has done one of the best jobs, basically curbing progress of this push. This push was already supposed to be the third, like a while ago. It
was already delayed because of the add-ons as well.
He's got 2 more tanks with a bunch of more infantry coming here, but there's so many zealots. I think Storm is done, by the way.
I think it's still being researched, and so he's just morphing in Archons right now. He knows that he just needs full power to be able to stop this thing.
And Trigger, he just collapsed on this.
Even dodging the Widowmine shots right here with the Warp Prism. Now that's a very good concave there.
Pulls away, buys time for extra warp-ins.
One of the ways you can lose the game from this position here as Protoss is if you just get guided to oblivion with a zealot heavy
More zealots come in.
Trigger blinking forward. I think he has enough that he can just chase this down.
Yeah, Cure, he has nothing here. Like Cure, he should lose every tank. He should lose all the Marines.
Yeah, I don't see any way Kier can make this work. Okay, there was a drop in the main. I didn't catch that, but only 4 dead probes. You know, this is compared to the...
hold on, we got a drop in the main. True.
Protoss meat grinder.
He's crazy.
Trying to move across
We
the map.
got this.
Oh, and a Doom drop coming into the main base as well.
I hate it when people call it Doom drop.
Really?
It's like
what do you want me to call it,
I don't know, big drop?
How is that better than Doom drop?
Doom drop?
Oh, no.
Come on, guys.
How is that better than Doom drop?
What is it? Is this a comic book from the 70s?
You want me to call this a big drop?
A huge drop. Look at the thesaurus out here. A massive drop.
Oh, God.
Well, he denies that. It was a Doom deny, as State would say.
It's true. See, Doom drop is too far for tasteless, but 6 City though. That's
a big
yeah. We say big deny.
That's top class here.
Huge.
True.
I still think the writing is kind of on the wall right now here for Cure. He's playing so Marauder heavy. This is one of the ways that Cure really likes to navigate his army.
Insert what's the Simpsons meme with like the old man shaking his hand at the
Oh,
God.
Checker's got 4 mortals in his composition right now. Storm is finally done. Cure's made the best out of a bad situation for the better part of like 5 minutes now. But I think eventually Trigger is going to be able to eke this one out.
GG
is called.
Pretty great game from Trigger. Great start, great finish. I think my favorite part was how he just held off the SCVs being sent in there. Yeah. Just no way to get anything done.
GG, well played. With that Trigger, he does take a lead in the series. Again, Trigger, he just had a really strong start, to be honest. Like, it was a little bit lackluster just because Trigger, he shut down the initial opener, he shut down the proxy. Cure, he fell behind. He just fell behind from there, and he stayed behind. We saw that he did turn his build into a 2-base all-in. He had to, but he was delayed getting into it. He was losing a lot of SCVs, and we saw, of course, the fumbled execution as Cure, he pulled all the boys, and the boys went ahead of the army. They went ahead of the army, and all the boys went down before the all-in really occurred. So, lackluster execution there by Cure. To be honest, if he had all those SCVs with the all-in, with the push, maybe he still pops off. Maybe he still breaks through. Because remember, he was hitting before Storm. Like, he was hitting pre-Storm, so maybe it would have worked out anyway, but in the end, it did fumble the ball. In the end, Trigger did claim it, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Ultra Love.
Correctly, but just the fact that Trigger was able to get so much momentum in the early game, denying that early barracks, I think it makes perfect sense. It simplifies the game a lot. You don't have a situation where, even though Storm is really good,
the big drop.
If Karen hits a critical timing and you do whiff all the storms, that is a way that you could lose a game from a winning position. So just playing with massive army value, it's going to be Trigger taking game number 1. We're going to go to Ultra Love here for map 2. Trigger with a strong start, but we haven't really seen what Cure has.
Well, one thing I do notice is that Cure clearly wants to win in a shorter game. I mean, the proxy.
Old man, yes, old man yells like Cloud, yes.
Committing to the 2-base play.
Yes,
we've seen him do before.
That's what I was thinking of.
I think
that's
it also makes
tasteless.
sense. The problem is, I think Protoss
old man yells at Doom drop.
You basically identify.
These kids don't know anything about Doom.
All I have to do is stop. And if there isn't, then all I have to do is play a very passive game.
Not like this.
Splash damage. We're gonna go to Ultra Love here. I think we might have had a crash actually.
Yeah. I'm looking at the game load-in screen, and one of the players is like halfway through, so it might be one of those situations where they just need to restart the
Trigger did
client
hold
and go
out
back
for
into the game.
1.5 hours, like 9 hours ago. Different players tried to last against him. Average time was around 8 minutes. Cool.
So right now, Trigger up in a 1-0 lead in this best of 5. Where the winner of this is going to face off against Raynor.
Was that like a Dave Testa tournament?
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting match, too.
9 hours ago, that would have been NA time.
Both of the storylines are so interesting to me. I mean, Kira just the lone Terran surviving right now in the RSL. Maru just
sounds like a Dave thing, or maybe
Kira,
like a
his TVZ. It's been
maybe like an Ursa
TV
like
thing. TVZ was maybe his
there
worst
you go.
matchup, and TvP was his best. But over the past like 12 months or so, it feels like it has completely switched. I remember at EWC when we were watching Kira versus
Steadfast had front page.
That series, I don't believe
one day we'll have front page. One day. Smurge, Pappy, Smurge.
If you watch those games,
that's
crazy. So much closer than the map score indicated.
Yeah.
Like every game, Cyril has barely survived. His TVZ is top notch.
Yeah, I mean, he looks really good. I feel like a lot of times Kira is like a couple of adjustments away from being the best player in the world. Like he's always been so good.
We should apply for
Korean Terran. With Maru,
Ducklings showdown.
Picture, you know, that takes casts a pretty big shadow. But yeah, I mean, he looks really, really strong. It does seem like TvP right now is a problem, not just for him, but for a lot of the Terrans out there. It seems like Protosses have really kind of figured out how to stabilize. You know, for a long time, Protoss has really had a hard time in the early game.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to balance.
September,
isn't it? I remember when the patch notes came out, and they removed. Well, they added energy recharge. They removed battery overcharge. A lot of people saw the patch notes, myself included, and were like, well, that probably isn't going to change very much. You know, like they made the shield battery a little more durable as a result. Energy recharge. It's kind of like you got Kadarian Amulet back, but in total it's, what, like 100 energy per minute if you're using it off cooldown all the time, so it's not that big of a deal.
No YouTube.
Although,
for that stream.
That's
good, fine.
But then the actual results
is that fine?
Like, well, if Protoss wants to, they could just make a sentry and scout everything with hallucination for free. You know, they get 2 hallucinations. Sure. The second one comes in the moment the first one is fired.
That's a hard thing to approach, just because we get so much more viewership on YouTube.
And then the Storm change with energy recharge actually was way
that's a bit of a trade-off. I guess obviously the plus side is your main Twitch channel grows. So
on its head.
That's the trade-off.
Yeah, it's a little bit painful, especially at the top level for some of these Terran players right now.
Well, this happens in matchups, and you know, we got to see will it be patched and fixed? Is it more about I don't know, another approach to the game? I mean, I think your analysis was broken down pretty well, but it seems like it's tough, right, for the Terran to have any kind of
looks like they have some downtime? Question mark?
Throw or surprise move, unless it's like in the immediate, like a floating barracks in the main.
Yeah, and honestly,
we saw in that last game.
For me, one of the most exciting aspects of TvP is the fact that Protoss, the scouting information actually is pretty limited in the early game, and you don't know what Terran is going to throw at you, because there was this whole era for the majority of StarCraft 2's history where Terran could do any variety of a Swiss Army knife build orders that each hone in on harassing you or culminate in an attack in a very specific way that requires a very specific response. And I love kind of the cat and mouse game of the Protoss player trying to figure it out and then defuse the plan before it's executed, or has to respond on the fly unprepared. And yeah, the energy recharge, although we don't see the sentry scout with hallucination quite as often as we did maybe a couple of months ago, that's one of the changes that I am the least a fan of. As a result, I really do enjoy the aggressive dynamics of PvT. And by the way, speaking of aggressive dynamics,
yeah, this is a super close probe.
We're gonna have a second proxied gateway or something.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah. I think it's like a max.
So we have a 2-gate opener here out of Trigger, 1 gateway at home, 1 across the map.
It's been so long since the Max Packs build was like a thing that I actually forgot how to build, like how the Max Packs build works. For whatever reason, I thought it might have been the first gateway that's proxied, but I think you're right.
No, it's the second gateway that's proxied. Yeah.
What a throwback.
We saw this build like a couple of days ago.
Really blindsided here.
We saw it out of Hero, right? Hero versus, I think it was Hero versus Bjorn. And I think we also saw it Classic. I think Classic also went for this as well. But Hero, he did do this this week, going 2-gate. This is a really good way to just punish a more greedy player. It's going to be a Rax expand out of Cure, so the CC can be punished by this.
Right. That's
Yeah.
why we have 2 SCVs out here chasing this around. He's like, oh, look at me. I got to slow you down. Look at me. Oh, no, command center.
Usually you make a zealot
He
first.
doesn't
So we're
care.
skipping the zealot. Okay.
He's going to hit this, and this could be a
And we're
force
waiting for the
cancel.
cybercore.
We're gonna have a zealot.
That's right. I said it. A force cancel.
Oh, Cure!
Oh, he's checking.
He's actually gonna scout
Let's
this.
go.
Oh, that is crazy here.
He
Cure. Okay, what's
checks.
the response gonna be? Do you throw
Yeah.
down a bunker immediately? Do you cancel the CC? All right, it's a command center cancel.
Okay, it does cancel. Really fast cancel out of Cure. Nicely done.
Still sucks, man. That's
Yeah.
still painful.
It is painful, but
this is an
better
expensive
than
investment here
the
for us as
alternative.
well. That
Can,
is.
can you like enhance the proxy from here? Is there like, can you do something weird like put a robo here and try to, or like a, I don't know.
But yeah, the reason why Cure scattered is because this is.
Maybe, but
I don't know if I
feel
want to say
it's better
common, but it
to try to
happens. Like
expand
it's.
the macro game here. You already got the
Not
indirect
uncommon.
economic damage done of delaying the command center, of forcing the cancel. I think it's
Yeah.
mostly done its job. Ideally for Trigger, this wouldn't have gotten spotted, and he would have forced a cancel or gotten a deny much later, and thus further impacting the Terran economy. But I think that Trigger's going to be happy with this. He's going to transition into a relatively normal game.
Again, an uncomfortable start here for Cure. Maybe the best of an uncomfortable start, though. You know.
Yeah, from here, Trigger just has to play standard. Just go into a Twilight Council, into Blink, into a 3-gate Blink setup, Robo on 2 bases. Now we are loading into Ultra Love. Ultra Love has a shorter rush distance by ground, so Cure, he could actually turn this into an all-in. We did see a failed, fumbled all-in last game, but like it's still going to be viable and an option for Cure coming into game 2.
Control back versus these stalkers. The Marines certainly can't do it. Not until they get support by some of these factory units.
Looks like there's a dead bird by this ramp. This like bird just crashed and is dying down there.
Yeah,
It's a dead pigeon. Like that's sad.
I think
It's a giant dead pigeon. That's sad. Probably got a lot of diseases.
Yeah, don't
Don't
touch that.
help him. You can feel sad, but don't help him.
It's trying to get on the console and phone for help.
Yeah.
Try to call a veterinarian right now.
The
I have no idea what they're looking at.
Cyclone's
So,
at, I think Protoss has to
to be
run.
honest.
Oh, he's warping in more
Trigger
stalkers.
says, that's enough, Tasteless. I'm going to warp in 2 more stalkers. I'm like, oh, okay, you can do that too.
Well, if you see the Cyclone like this, that stim pack is probably quite a way
So behind this,
away.
we have, again,
Cyclone,
3
as long
gateways,
as
so
we're able
Trigger
to
is here
deny
just to
the vision, there's not
maintain
too much of a
himself,
threat.
just maintain map control, apply some pressure. Behind this, Trigger, he should be expanding.
You're really kind of
I'll be a little bit
blowing
shocked to
his
see a
base
4th
quite
gateway.
significantly here. And
There's
one
the
of the
Robo.
surprising things for me coming in from Trigger's response is that he's actually going into just 3-gate Blink with a Robo behind this. If I were in Trigger's shoes, and of course I'm less the player than Trigger is, I probably would have been trying to leverage this as some kind of greed. Like, use the 2 gateways, get a Twilight Council, get a Robo, and just immediately throw down third command center, or third Nexus, excuse me. But for Trigger, it seems
So
like
State, he's talking about how like, oh, like you can just be greedy and get a faster third base. I would push against that just because there's a higher chance to Cure all-ins, so I do think that safe play and going for a faster Robo is better for Trigger, just because of the threat of an all-in.
And it seems like that actually,
Especially
wasn't
after the last
call,
game.
because Kira is now moving across the map with the first siege tank. More Banshees, Marines.
Yeah, as we're
siege
seeing
tanks are
here.
going to be
Like, Cure, he's just
reinforcing
sending
as
it.
well. And so for Trigger, this is actually going to be much about just defending this push.
You know, the bridges, they're so punishing for any kind of push on this map. Because there's no pressure for,
Ooh, that was a crazy link.
For Trigger to come
Oof.
across the map, and he says, Tasteless, watch this. And he just blinks right across. But
Doesn't get
Terran's having
punished.
a hard time. Terran's having a hard time really getting anywhere with this. I do like the pickup in the blind spot, but I think the Adept basically scouted there's nothing there.
Oh,
So
he
Trigger's
misses
trying to
it.
find it. Oh
Misses the
my God, he
medevac.
just missed it. Trigger could have also
Oh my
gone for the
God.
tanks too.
Yeah,
Crazy.
instead, just
What's
be trying
back
to
at home?
finish.
Can you just
I mean, he has a lot of gateways, right? So he should be able to warp in. He's trying to
He can.
intercept the retreat back home. Actually going to get one
Gets
of
a
the
tank.
siege tanks. Might go for a second one, too. That's a lot of stalkers right there. Tasteless.
Nice control.
Okay, so
Drop
there
into the
was an
main.
unload over here. Here we go.
Yo, we got the big drop into the main.
Yeah, I think no stim either because we're playing so tech heavy right now for Cure. So
5 probes, not bad.
he's going to take down 5
Going for that
probes.
Chosen's pylon. The pylon!
Pylon. I don't know. I keep getting my race buildings mixed up
It's
right
just a
now.
Protoss depot at the end of the day.
That's true. If only he can go up and down.
Nice
just like
target finding at a
depot,
Cure.
make PvZ so
9
much
probes.
easier.
Okay, great control here. Trigger cleans this up. 9 probes killed, though. definitely a little victory there.
I actually like the decision there by Kira to stick it out instead of trying to escape. With Blink, there's always the risk that...
Honestly, this is really nice damage. He gets 10 probes in total. He cripples the economy of Trigger. Classic still, sorry, Cube is still being active.
Oh yeah, Cloak is done.
Yeah.
No observer on the map. He has to start it right now. There's no
observer.
shield battery either in the mineral line. There's only one just north of the mineral line, so it's a bit of a tricky proposition here for Trigger to try and defend.
Trigger is struggling.
I don't know about that. Yeah, that looked like a bad decision to go in there. So 12 probes have been killed. That does make it 31 to 29, so it's not as gross of a disparity as you might have guessed. But you got to factor mules in there as well. I'm sorry, it's 48 to 42. What am I saying? Still, though, I guess not the end of the world.
Trigger is kind of limping into the mid game economically right now. He has lost so many workers. 5 workers down from the Terran.
But Trigger's going for a very slow cook play. He's just going to get...
And I do like this out of Cure. Like, Cure, he dealt with that economic damage, and behind this, he's not going for an all-in, he's getting a third CC. He's just taking his lead, and he's extending his lead.
Trigger's going for the very fast Storm as well. He's already warping in Templar. I'm sure he's going to be using energy recharge to try and top them up as fast as possible, too. The next time these armies engage on the map, there is likely going to be a plethora of high energy Templar. As Cure actually waited for the second Banshee to come in. That's going to allow him to one-shot the probes even with a shield battery because they sync up their shots. And he's just going to sacrifice these Banshees.
Oh god, he's going to get lost.
Pound the damage right now. 7 probes total going down. Tried to focus fire that 1 HP probe, but actually wasn't able to get it. So the probes were stacked up. In total, this is like maybe 20 plus probes that have fallen.
Yeah, Trigger is in bad shape. You know, with a third CC coming, Cure is going to easily be able to expand. I don't know when he wants to attack. And I literally, not just like as far as this game goes, I'm not sure when Terran wants to hit versus Protoss, especially when Storm is done. But he is going to get 4 ghosts, so maybe that's the answer. Maybe he wants to get those EMPs out and try to basically, you know, just go for a kill move.
Yeah, the really fast Ghost Tech is going to give him an answer for those Templar. If Trigger is proactive about splitting the Templar on the map before the push commences, it might mitigate the Ghost Tech a little bit, but I think this is really going to be the ace in Cure's deck. Cure is... That will be a tough composition to push with. I think 1 Siege Tank in total has gone down over the course of this game, so we still have at least 3 here with the main army.
Yeah, and Trigger can't do anything to delay this.
Now, is Cure going to push out after he saturates this third base, or is he going to hunker down for a little bit longer?
Well, he's making a few more ghosts, but it does feel like he has the answer, right?
Yeah, just the counterattack threat of this group of Blink Stalkers plus the Charge Zealots is very dangerous. And actually, it's Trigger who's getting aggressive on the map.
Yeah, Trigger, he's pretty committed here. You can see Trigger's not making probes. He's all in. Like, Trigger, he's not making any workers. He's all in. Basically, 2 base all in at a Trigger. The third base is fake, and it's all or nothing. He has to win the game here and now. He's going for it.
Trigger's going to go in here now. He's going to try to target that. He actually does get the targeting there.
Gets a Storm.
And we're going to have 2 more Storms go down. What is actually left over from Protoss?
Not enough.
Suffered a lot of damage, but I don't see almost anything here.
Dude, Cure was so clutch, just diffusing the Templar drop from the War Prison. The first 2 got nothing done. The follow-up storms were pretty big, but that was basically all of Trigger's firepower. That was the energy built up from like 5 minutes ago until now, including energy recharge. So for Trigger, he's going to have maybe 3 or 4 storms max. By the time this next push commences, you see 2 storms on that Templar. If we have energy recharge, he will have 2 more on 1 more. But Cure lost very little army right there. It is a massive lead. Does get spotted by the medevac. Still able to get a good storm, but no confirmation on the kills. The medevacs are going to heal everything back
getting
up.
into the tanks.
Charging in, able to get a really good connection on top of these siege tanks. Immortals also joining the fray. As soon as that Zealot frontline thins out, the Bio can really...
He needs a storm,
here. For Trigger, 1 more warps in, waiting for energy recharge to come available.
Yeah, Cure is so close to ending this. Reinforcements are coming down. There's not enough Templar energy yet to go for a Psy Storm here. And so it's going to be down to just this remainder of Protoss unit. That's going to be it. GG. Tied up 1-1. Cure gets his win. Great game from Cure.
GG, well played. Again, Cure, he was able to have a much stronger follow-up, even though he had to cancel his CC because of the scout of the proxy. He was able to cancel it quite quickly, set up into a stronger early to mid game. We saw that, I mean, that wasn't when he took a lead. When he took a lead was the drop. If you remember, winding it back, we saw a single Marine job bypass the Stalkers, was able to slip on by, unload into the main base, and how many probes did he kill? 9. He killed 9 workers, and then the Banshees came in, dealt even more damage despite the robo opener, which is meant to be a very safe way to open up. There was no observer. There was no observer, so Trigger, he was being greedy, he was cutting corners, he gets punished for it, and in the end he lost 9 workers initially to the drop, and then we lost even more, I want to say around 20 in total, in combination with the drop and also with the Banshees as well. So critical damage was dealt, and again, Trigger had a really hard time getting into a longer game. That's why Trigger went for the 2-base all-in. He knew that he was just too far behind. He was too far behind, he knew that he could not macro out of that, so he just went for the all-in, but Cure, he was miles ahead. The Ghosts, the EMPs were on point. GG. GG.
You get all sorts of perks. We have replay packs
Meanwhile,
available.
Patreon.
Voting rights for maps for players every season. You get discounts.
Check out the Patreon, exclamation mark RSL in the chat to get a link to the Patreon page for the RSL. The RSL is made by the people for the people. A lot of the crowdfunding has been going on in StarCraft in general when it comes to Thermals tournaments, Pigs tournaments, R tournaments, the RSL, Wardies events, and many others. Again, a lot of crowdfunding. I know it's quite a bit, but again, it's really cool to see the amount of support that we have gotten, or that they have gotten, for the RSL. Again, and this is still kind of like the early days of the RSL. I'm sure it will gain traction, grow, and improve over time, over the course of the next year. They do have plans to host a 3rd season and plans to have an offline finals for the RSL as well. So there's a lot planned ahead of us here for the remainder of 2025 for the Revival StarCraft League. Again, you can check them out if you wish. Otherwise, I believe they're going to be cutting to a break. They're going to be cutting to a small break, and when we come back, we will have the remainder of the series. We're currently tied up 1-1. We're tied up 1-1, and we'll see who takes a lead in the series. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We are halfway through the final series of the broadcast. We are, of course, settling into Game 3 of Cure vs. Trigger here in the RSL, the Revival StarCraft League Season 2 playoffs. We have Cure and Trigger. We're tied up 1-1, and we're getting ready for Game number 3. As you can see, the vetoes here, Game 3 is going to be on Maganatha, Game 4 on Tokamak, and Game 5 on Leylines, if we go that far, of course. Now, so far, we haven't really learned too much about these two players. I'll be honest, like Game 1, we saw Cure fail with his cheese and fail with his proxy. Game 2, we saw Trigger kind of fail with his cheese and fail with his proxy as well. I mean, I say that Game 2 was a little bit more complicated because it was actually Cure with his counter drop play and harassment, which did win him the game, which did set him far ahead. It did set him apart from Trigger, true. But what I guess I'm getting at is that so far the games have been dictated by the early game. Like, the early game has been very influential and has been giving a lot of momentum to our two players, respectively, to Cure and to Trigger. We'll see if that trend continues coming into Game 3.
Set number 3, Trigger spawning as the red Protoss in the bottom right, Cure the blue Terran at the top left. I saw you get excited when that SCV went down. One here that's going to go across the map. Cure just building a depot in the wall in.
Of course, welcome on to Maganatha. Maganatha is one of the larger maps. The map pool, very large map, and typically does favor longer and later games. We have seen a lot of Terran players actually try to catch their opponent being greedy and go for all-ins on this map with mixed success. We could see that out of Cure as well. Again, Cure, he's already shown us he's willing to go for all-ins in this matchup. He's been known for it, of course, well known for it. But here against Trigger, we might see some more standard play. Hard to say. Well, what I can say, though, what we should emphasize is the early game aggression. Both Game 1 and Game 2 were heavily reliant on that. We'll see how reliant we're on it here as well, when it comes to who takes the lead, who gets ahead, and who stays ahead. We speak about this all the time, but TvP honestly is really momentum based. How if you get damage done early on, it's actually really difficult to recover from that, to recover and to make up for that early game damage, and that's applicable to both the Protoss and the Terran player, generally.
Game.
Yeah, about 20 probes were going down in that game number 2 to Marine drops to Banshee Cloak. And for a long time, the early game harassment has been kind of the operating factor in terms of whether Terran is going to be entering the mid game with an advantage or a disadvantage. It's a little bit similar to Protoss versus Zerg in that regard, where Protoss needs to get some kind of damage done with oracles or depths in the early game to be on even footing with the Zerg. Usually it's like 2 or 3 drones. With Terran, usually you want to get probably, I would say, 3 or more probes, if you could, with some kind of early game harassment, whether it be like a Widowmine drop, Hellion run by, or some kind of Banshee play or Raven play. And for Trigger, I think that a lot of this is going to come down to how well he's able to parry that pressure, because if his response to harassment in the rest of the series is around the
And yeah,
same
I guess I
level
would
as
echo
the
what
first
State is
two.
about to
He
talk
could
about.
be
I mean,
anywhere
we just spoke about how the aggression from Cura just pulled Trigger apart and set him apart, set him ahead. So likewise, we should echo that as well, talking about how Trigger, he needs to tighten up that early game defense against Banshees, against draw play, against whatever comes his way. We gotta tighten up, we gotta defend, we gotta be secure.
Yeah, shield battery as well early on here in the natural expansion. So Twilight Council does get thrown down, and are we going to immediately have an energy recharge here for Trigger?
For now, Twilight Council opener into Blink, most likely 3-gate Blink into a Robo, into a delayed third base. We'll see if Trigger decides to cut any corners and decides to go for a faster third.
Figure out exactly what the plan is going to be here for Cure. What kind of harassment option will it be from Terran? And that should help Trigger organize the response back at home. And it's at very little cost, 50 energy cost for the energy recharge. It's equivalent to basically 1 probe worth of production from Chrono Boost. So very, very low cost to get this information. He spotted the Hellions. He knows there's probably going to be some kind of play like that. Moving in once again, just double checking the add-ons here. And now he is in just perfect position here in the natural expansion to intercept this.
So we have the next 2 Widow Mines coming out. I think it's going to be a 4 Widow Mine drop. Right now.
For now, as we are getting into our standard open out of Trigger, as I'm mentioning, we do have the mine drop. The hallucination will confirm the mines and does spot extra mines popping out, so nice scout by Trigger. Very nicely timed.
He's going to swap the 2 structures and make a tech lab over here, and this drop's going to be inbound. I don't expect this to do too much damage, but let's see. You know, Widow Mine drops are one of the most, against Protoss, one of the most asymmetric fights ever, because it's pretty easy for Terran to do, but if Protoss, like, you know, doesn't prepare for it and handle it perfectly, you can lose all your workers and be in total hell.
Yeah, it has gotten a lot easier to defend that with the recent patch, but
yeah,
all things considered, it is one of the best options here for Terran still. Try and get some kind of economic damage done. This is going to be 4 Widow Mines fully.
So mine drops generally are not about economic damage. Very nice. Force field knocking down those Hellions. Oh my god.
This is hallucinated probes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's going to pick this up.
The defense.
It does a little bit of damage there onto the Stalker. This one, Widow Mine's going to try to run away. I love
So
the
he's a little
Hellions.
bit chaotic.
Cure has got some of the coolest setups to do damage.
Yeah, and because the Sentry got taken down by the Widow Mine shot earlier, that's going to allow those Hellions to get into the main base. Only a couple more probe kills coming down because of that, but it does force a lot of idle time here on the main base, and that's also going to set up for the Raven to come in with 2 auto turrets. I think it's already shift queued up that Raven like 12 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll see that in a minute.
Yeah, so a lot of aggression out of Cure. Really nice defense out of Trigger. I'm very impressed by his shutdown of not just the mine drop, but of the Hellion harass as well. That could have gone so much worse for Trigger. We were getting into it, but again, Widow Mine drops, they've fallen out of favor and fallen out of fashion for the most part, especially committed mine drops. This was more dedicated with 4 Widow Mines, and so far, ooh, nice control as we dodge the shots.
I just didn't think the blink was finished just yet, so.
What?
Yeah, Trigger able to defuse that. Medevac just barely surviving.
Oh, he stopped the Raven. I'm like, how long has this Raven been traveling down there?
Reminds me of the old school Liberator harass where you just shift queue it like as soon as it pops out of your starport. I don't see that quite as often these days.
So we have the 3rd CC started. This is not a 2-base all-in, but we could be seeing a push come in here pretty quickly.
Nice
Be
reaction.
Careful, man. Are you going to commit with this or not?
Oh, kidding the Raven. He can. What of us? Gets it. Oh my god.
I can't believe anything
So,
about this game right now. It's just
better defense by Trigger. Trigger, he loses 2 probes for Raven. That is well worth it for the Protoss.
Yeah,
Shuts down the Raven.
Like, it turned back like twice there.
Yeah,
it was kind of, it was tricky. I feel like it's very rare that you see the Raven actually die.
When I see a pro do that, I'm like, well, he must just know. Like, I'm not going to, say this won't work. And then it's like, oh, no.
That was kind of funny micro.
Trigger comes in here and damages that. Stim's about to finish up, but we're going to have a double medevac drop. Terrans have gotten so good with the positioning here in the main to protect this.
Oh, he's actually setting up outside of his base.
Yeah, he might be trying to sandwich like the stalkers out here. You know, a lot of times you keep these out here to deny scouts and everything else.
Oh.
Ooh. So he's going to bring this up here.
Does boost. Oh no!
Climactic. Oh man, one shot.
Cure
So
doing
he's
what he
just gonna
could.
move through the map,
Doing
try
what
to
he
hit
could.
the third base.
But so
There's
far,
one
again, Trigger's defense has
started, by the
been
way.
solid. We're building up towards a blink. We're building up towards charge. No splash damage yet, from my understanding. I don't think we've seen Storm being researched or Colossus production set up either, which is a little bit concerning. But Cure is getting a third base anyway. We're just building up into a longer game.
He seems to have a much bigger army, and it's not like the Trigger has a position to counterattack, at least yet.
Yeah, there hasn't been all that economic damage done directly to Trigger, but it's been so much idle time. If we think back to the main base and the natural expansion, how often those probes were getting pulled, I think it was like 3 or 4 times at least in total. That was like 30 seconds plus maybe of an entire mineral line just not mining, which actually is quite substantial here for Trigger. Plus delaying the third base as well there from Cure was a nice move, but you do have to keep in mind that the army from Trigger in like a minute or two is going to be really strong. He's adding in a second robotics facility. He's going to have +2 ground weapons that just got started up.
As you're alluding to, Trigger, he needs time for his Colossus production. The Bay is on the way. The second Robo is on the way. The Forge is on the way. Trigger, he needs more time. Okay, looks like it does have Storm. Storm is ready.
So he's going to try and move out here in the center.
Great dodge.
Got a zone.
Ooh, really aggressive blink forward there by Trigger. Cure is going to punish him for it. That's a lot of damage done by these Stalkers.
This is all going to try to pour down onto the fourth base that Trigger's taking now. Again, we got to watch the Psy Storms. Oh, man, almost got the Warp Prism in range of the Widow Mine there. Again, Cure's going to shuffle his units on the board to try to make sure that... Oh,
that's a substantial drop, Tasteless.
a humongo drop.
It's gargantuan. Look at
This
this.
is...
I wish there was a word to describe this.
Yeah, I wish there was a word to describe that pylon over here in the main that's powering almost everything.
Ah, no.
This is insane.
Sorry, there's a taste pylon, the tasteless pylon and a state pylon over there on the left side to keep it safe. So
yeah.
Some of these gateways will still be powered, but still, that's a lot of production taken offline right now. Double Storm will come in with the energy recharge, or maybe that was actually dropped there by the Warp Prism, but still there's no confirmation of any of these kills. The Medivacs are healing everything up.
Yeah, there's a huge attack.
Nice run by, nice counterattack. Does force a cancel.
Third base, so
stands in the storms.
Cure is doing so much damage here with what he's got. Both these guys are basically in shambles here. 14 SCVs have been killed, excuse me. I think Cure can actually come out here with another attack and finish Trigger off.
Yeah, the problem here is that 14 SCVs is nice, but honestly, Cure, his economy is fine. Like, he has 55 SCVs plus mules, and he's on 3 bases. Trigger, he's on 3 expansions himself, and he's not fully saturated. And again, Trigger, he needs time for the Colossus.
Oh, just the one. Okay, so he's operating on 5 gateways.
Wait, did he lose the Bay?
It's not that bad because we do have the second Robo and the Robo Bay done, but it's still pretty bad here for Trigger. Losing the main base in a situation like that one is never a position you want to be in. And look at the army that Protoss has right now. This is so tricky. How are you going to deal with
Colossus
any
has
sort of
arrived.
kiting with this comp?
He's got one Colossus
right now with these siege tanks inching forward. There's no anti-air, literally no anti-air for these Vikings. Finally now Stalkers are joining in, but that Colossus is going to go down.
Yeah, I don't know the Trigger.
Yeah, there's just not much here for Trigger.
And all these Immortals are going to go down.
There's nothing left.
And then it's going to be Protoss back to 0 here. Cure has won this game. Unbelievable. GG.
Dude, that drop in the main base just completely dislodged Trigger's position. So much production came offline. The main Nexus was lost. All that production had to be rebuilt. Trigger was forced into a position where I think he couldn't even warp in Stalkers. I think the Styber Core might have also gone down.
Yeah.
So he had to warp in just Zealots.
Yeah, GG, well played. Again, it all came down to that Dune Drop headed towards the main base. We saw that Trigger, he was set up for a Zealot run by and a Zealot counterattack, which was nice, but that Dune Drop did so much damage. Was able to take down the Nexus, take down the expansion, depower a bunch of the production, deal critical damage in the main. And back at home, even though 14 SCVs went down, didn't matter. Didn't really matter. Cure, his economy was still thriving, of course, and Trigger was just pulled apart. He was pulled apart. It wasn't just the damage dealt to the main base, but also the trades that Cure had against the army. Some solid EMPs on those High Templar. We saw a couple of good storms, but not good enough. Not good enough. GG, well played.
But he identified that this is going to be a great moment to just run in there, and maybe it's because he forces enough warp-ins at the fourth base, but he just drops in the main and triggers, all that infrastructure falls apart. Beautifully done.
Yeah, the Sim City and the main base there of Trigger also made it very tricky to defend. All those gateways there on the north side, it was kind of a bottleneck. He came in with a Warp Prism. I'm not sure if the Templar came in from the Warp Prism or was warped in and then energy recharge, but in any case, the units were already so spread, and then the Zealots, after the storms hit, had like this maze, this hedge maze to work through to try and find the Terran army. They got the very late connections. By then, the Medivacs had healed basically everything up. Just a wonderfully played game there by Cure, and now it's match point. The lone Terran standing here in the RSL is one map win away from facing Raynor in the lower bracket semifinal. Trigger, if he loses this map, he is out of the tournament.
Yeah. I think Trigger's got a shot, but I mean, Cure has just been so impressive. And look, we have many Protosses waiting in the upper bracket here, right? If anybody could take them out, I mean, Cure's looking very, very strong.
True. I just realized.
Cure is eliminated. He's the last Terran player in this season of the RSL.
Yeah, with what Taste is saying, he was alluding to it, but Cure, he's the last Terran. The last Terran back.
A matchup where last season, as well as EWC, we were kind of talking about the fundamental challenges that come with being Terran in this matchup now. It does seem to be one where the Terran, and this was sometimes true in the matchup, but it's really true now. The Terran has to stop the Protoss before the Protoss gets too big. Some RTS games, some matchups, this is how it works. Is one guy might have an opportunity to end it, and if not, the other side is too strong.
Yeah, it's been, I think, 9 months since that balance patch hit with the energy recharge. And I actually was looking at some of the statistics there for Cure heading into today, because I was just curious at where his TvP is at. I wanted to see if my impression of his TvP being weaker this year is actually true, or if it's just kind of a bias that I have from the games that I've casted. And I looked at a 5% drop in terms of Cure's win rate in TvP, looking at the 9 months before the patch and the 9 months after the patch. I think he's still one of the leading players in TvP.
I'm pretty sure he's like top 2.
Especially for Cure's aggressive style. I feel like the energy recharge change is just very painful, with the Hallucination Scout potentially coming in so early, and then also with energy recharge being utilized defensively with Storm. I mean, those two things usually hit at critical junctions in the game, where normally Cure, a player like Cure with his style, would have a power spike, right? Where you're trying to get some kind of damage done, or you're trying to throw.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird kind of line of dialogue to go down for State, just because, I mean, Cure, he made it to the finals of GSL. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, Cure, he is, yeah, I would say he is one of the best TvP players in the world. I would still place Clem above him, but I think I would put Cure above Bjorn. Like, I prefer Bjorn's TvP, like, stylistically and viewer-wise, but, like, Cure, he straight up has some of the best TvP in the world.
I think we're probably going to see more of the same, just some kind.
Like, I would say Cure's TvP is probably more impressive than Maru's TvP.
Both in Game 2 and Game 3, he got huge amounts of damage done. Even when it got scattered by the hallucinations, he was still able to find some pretty good damage. And then just follow up with...
I mean, there's a reason why Cure is still in the event and Maru isn't.
Marauder composition. It has been working so well for him. It's what worked well for him in the past. It feels more like what we're seeing from Cure today is what we expect to see from Cure from months and years in the past, right? Just the absolutely rock-solid mid-game TvP. For whatever reason, whenever I'm casting a Cure game in TvP, it always just feels like he has more bio than literally anybody else. It doesn't quite make sense. I'm sure it's something I'm imagining. Maybe it's just the way he controls it or the way he positions with it. But it just feels like he has more. And when you're playing the kind of styles that Trigger is with Storm, if Cure can find a way to get you to waste some of that energy,
all the backpedaling.
Energy recharge, like we
it's like, Cure, his TvP's looking rough. By the way, I think every game we cast with his TvP, he just has more.
Okay. Basically lost all the splash damage. That is the moment where Cure is able to shine.
Sure. Behind this, we have 2 more gates, so it is going to be a standard opener out of Trigger, going into 3-gate blink with a Robo.
See that?
Okay, he's going to go for this Widowmine, and what Cure is doing is he's going to throw this Widowmine to the side to basically buy time for the 2 more Marines to come out. And, you know, this is one of the things when you watch, it's not very often you get to see Stalkers and Marines fight when there's either no blink or no stim, but Stalkers are better units, as you can see here.
So here, Cure, he's being punished for not making a bunker. Typically, we do see a safety bunker here at the natural base. Cure, he skips it. He will lose a Marine, but he does catch out the Stalkers, and does not quite get the kill.
I'm shocked both of them survived.
I thought it was going down.
Yeah.
The War Prism started back at home, along with 2 more gateways. We're about to have blink finish. This time around, it's not going to be a Widowmine drop, although it seems like Cure is trying to find any kind of spotter units out here. It's actually going to be a Banshee with tanks. This actually could be I guess it could be a very early push, or it could be
Oh,
a
he's
really
playing mech.
passive game.
Let's
I guess with
go.
Cloak, that answers the question. It's not going
He's
to be
meching it up.
an aggro game. It's going to be a harass game with the Banshee. So he needs to get the tank sieged up. Now, there's this quirk
So
that
personally, I would have thought that we would have seen more mech in this series. Like, mech has been very popular amongst players like Maru and Cure and a lot of the Terran players just in the greater StarCraft scene. So I'm really happy to see that we didn't get mech until now. Like, finally we get to see it, but we didn't rely on it. Oh, 4-gate blink! Let's go!
Yeah, every time he does this.
I thought it was 3.
Well, this time it's 4-gate blink, so he's going to have a lot more.
He
Blink forward,
commits,
able to
gets a
almost take
tank.
down that siege tank before he can get a second shot. Warp
Tank
Prism
goes
might want to
down,
pick up that very
Cyclone goes
front
down,
stop,
no
so one
bunker.
is going to fall.
Oh my
but
god.
This is a pretty good start here for Trigger. He's able to blink to the right side of the base. The
Yeah.
natural expansion here on
Again,
Takamaka is quite wide.
Curie gets
so that
punished for no
siege tank is
bunker.
gonna
The bunker's still not
position even
done.
closer. That's getting it in range of potentially another aggressive blink. Now, is Trigger going to go for that?
He's
Isolated
going
one
for the dive.
stalkers. It looks like he probably is.
Blinks
There's the
in,
blink.
gets a tank.
Able to one-shot that siege tank, and now there's no more siege here for Cure.
This game can end pretty quickly here without siege mode. Now, there is Banshee Cloak. This was actually
True, he didn't research siege mode.
the premeditation here was
True.
to use this to harass, but he's using this to basically end the onslaught of damage that would eventually cost him the game. So that means there's no surprise attack back at home.
So really nice damage here by Trigger. Trigger, he doesn't kill, but winding it back here very quickly. Trigger, he went 4-gate blink Stalker. This is a very aggressive, very dedicated build out of Trigger. Because of this, it delays the third. Trigger's third base is later than usual, that is true, but he was able to snipe 2 tanks, got a bunker, picked off a lot of Marines, and what this means is that Cure is stuck at home even longer, which means that the Trigger has time to build up his third base, build up his economy, and he's going for another warp in.
Building double siege tank production at this moment, and eventually I think the alarm bells are going to start going off here for Trigger. He's like, wait, how many siege tanks do you have? This doesn't make sense. All right, the blink is going to show it immediately. So now Trigger knows this is going to be a game versus mech. He's moving into the main base, going to try and take down some of these supply depots without the bio. It's a little bit tough for Kira to be able to have the maneuverability to really slow down this harassment, so he's just going to have to wait until Trigger evacuates the base. And what will the response from Protoss be? It looks like a lot more gateways.
Oof.
Okay, so the Stalkers are forced
So
back
at least
a
Trigger,
little
he's
further
aware,
here.
right? He just scouted, he's aware of the mech. Behind this, going and doubling down with a gateway composition, which is the correct thing to do, right? Going to Charge, going to Blink, going to Immortals, going to Archons. Like, we do need a very cheap, a very gateway dense composition. Trigger likewise also wants to contain Cure on 2 bases for as long as possible as well.
Very often, but yeah, you can blink those and juggle those Stalkers in and out of the Warp Prism and avoid the Banshee shots. The Banshee shot does fire very slow. It's a pretty easy animation to outmaneuver. Back at home, Trigger looks really good. He's kept up on all of his macro. But again, this is a really weird Terran comp. It's 3 factory with Banshee production.
Yeah, this is...
I mean, this is just not... I'm not even saying like it's bad. It's just not a usual composition. You know, I guess the Cyclones are going to make it harder to use Blink, and eventually tanks can come up and
This is a standard composition. It's so winding it back here. It's very common to go battle mech with Banshee support. You want to build up your Banshees because the Banshees do a great job when it comes to harassing across the map and sniping High Templar. It's also that Tasteless just hasn't watched a lot of TvP as of late, but like this is one of the more standard mech compositions against Protoss.
Oh, I think that's exactly what it is.
But it's just... Okay, so he does have Blue Flame now coming online. I actually missed that here in the production.
What's important though, something that is abnormal about this build is the lack of third base, right? This is very dedicated on 2 bases. The third base is very late, so because of the damage that the Trigger dealt earlier with his 4-gate blink, like here he's stumbling his way into the mid game.
Economic future here, but I do think
Here come the
attack
Banshees.
out here is going to be really important. But maybe I've got a bad read. Maybe he's just going to sit here and try to get these mech units out. I'm still in under the impression that you really do need to have like severe damage coming into the Protoss, and you can't let them just get out of hand and get too big.
I mean, this is damage.
Yeah, I haven't seen a game quite like this one in TvP before, but with a third command center.
But remember, the reason
with your mech army,
like they sound a little bit perplexed as to what's happening. Remember, the reason why things look so awkward here is because of the 4-gate. Because of the 4-gate blink, like again, Cure, he wanted to go for an earlier push, he wanted to go for an earlier timing, but he missed it. Like he missed it because he lost so much to the 4-gate blink. That's why this has been such an awkward transition, and that's why Cure's third base is so late. Trigger is about to max, and Trigger, he has full control. He has control of this game. Trigger should be the first to max out. He should be the first to push, and he should be able to break Kier's army and break his third.
Going to be able to gun down out of any unit in the game a Hellbat extremely easily. But this lets
You can see the massive wall of red moving in the minimap. Like again, Kier, he now moves out to expand as his third, and Trigger, he should be there to knock the third down. Look at all those zealots.
Trigger is going to try to.
Look at that.
Okay.
Dude.
Well, I said that Trigger definitely can't break down this third command
But he
center.
can.
He's going to try Tasteless.
Very easily.
He's got Hellbats here though, and that's going to be a little bit tough
Hellbats
for these
tank?
zealots to surround. But the numbers
Can he
are
get on top
so
of the tanks?
high.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Hellbat.
Very nice target firing on the stalkers. The
Alright, I feel
immortals were a
vindicated.
non-factor.
I was like, there's no way Trigger can do it. And then Trigger's like, watch me try.
Well, yeah, well, you know, sometimes when you see two comps fight and you don't really cast that, like I don't cast mass Hellbat, you know, submarine.
So Trigger, he should have had enough to break that, but these immortals that you're seeing here, they weren't fighting. Like, what is this, like 5, 6 immortals? They were not a part of the main fight. They were lagging behind. The zealots moved too far forward. Trigger, he got too excited. He got too excited. That was meant to break the third.
Other weird stuff in the front. I think the Cure might just.
That was meant to end the game. Ay, ay, ay. He had the army. He had it.
Reinforcements are going to be really tough for Protoss to deal with.
I mean, he can go for one more big round of Stalker Warpins, and Trigger might be able to survive. But
and Cure, he does it. He snowballs out of control. He snowballs out of control. He immediately counterattacks after he wins the fight.
Really big here. Now with these Stalkers, he's able to get some keen
Lose the
pickoffs,
tank.
getting the Siege Tank, getting the Cyclones, able to take down the Banshees.
Dude, this is insane.
It's looking like he's stabilizing.
It does feel like Cure is maybe pushing when he should have been
Trigger,
regrouping.
he's surviving.
Specifically in that last
He's
attack.
surviving,
It's like, well,
Pappy.
this is just not enough.
Do we make a game out of this?
You know,
do we
anything
slow down?
I think Cure can just sort of.
Also, a big shout out to Old Faust in the chat. Thank you so much for the raid. God, thank you so much. Hope you had a good stream. Hope you had a good, I'm assuming ladder session. Hope you had a great time.
No, actually, was it 4? 4 Immortals were killed. You know, it's not like he's got 4 Robos to make those 4 Immortals again. And this is a mech army. You know,
What happened? Trigger's army melted. As we mentioned, like again, the Immortals were not a part of the fight. They just weren't a part of the fight. So that was just miscontrol out of Trigger.
So that you could maybe have a solution versus mech.
He was premature, Pappy. He was
Yeah,
premature.
Trigger is restarting that Immortal production. Plus 3 grand weapons also getting started here for Protoss. Terran sitting on 1-1 right now with a vehicle, just starting plus 2 vehicle weapons. And for Cure, he might have had a window where he would have been able to end the game after that initial push if he had just regrouped the way that you thought, but I think he.
And yeah, the game is slowing down. We're slowing things down. But what's important is that, again, Trigger, he should have been able to kill Cure at the third base. He failed to do so, and now suddenly Cure, he's back in this game. Now he's got his third up and running. Now he's got his upgrades kicking in. Now he's got his fourth CC on the way. Cure, he can slow the game down and max out on mech.
He's throwing down an additional command center. Soon a fourth base will get taken. I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw the main command center lift off pretty soon to try and saturate maybe a fifth base.
This is a lot of probes that are going to get killed off over here. It's going to be, what, 15 are killed, and they're actually trapped. The perfect recall here.
Very nice. 16 probe kills.
That's kind of insane. You know, the problem for Protoss right now is they're sort of even on bases with that last base getting wiped out. But, you know, it does feel like you need a certain number of Hellions. I guess they are the most replaceable thing you have right now. They really are like the Zerglings of the game, you know, in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't think I mind it too much here for Cure. It's a nice move. You kill an entire mineral line. Trigger up until that point was on relatively low work count. I think he's struggling to resaturate everything as he's taking a fifth base. Certainly gonna have to build more probes if he wants to have that fifth base online and fully productive as well. And for Cure, you know, the Hellions are just kind of this throwaway unit that you send out there to get map presence. They give you scouting information. You get to see the army composition of the opponent. And you can also keep their economy in check. And Trigger's trying to fight back with his own charge zealots.
Oh, he's feeding. He's feeding here. This is like really bad.
Yeah.
You know, it's
this
funny
is a
because
moment he'd be getting flamed.
This works versus bio, right? But versus mech, you're just going to run into units that are going to torch you. And so we're going to see the next attack come in. And, you know, I got to say, man, I don't think the Trigger can survive this. The Stalkers are getting melted. You know, we don't have enough robo units out. There's one immortal here.
Again, like Trigger, he had dedicated so much of the attack at the third base.
Yeah, the battle mech is just oppressive.
Yeah, look at the kiting. Oh my god. And then eventually the tanks are going to come up here.
Oh man, there's no detection for the Banshees as well. I think the Observer actually got taken out. We have a Raven with this army, so another Observer is going to be joining the fray. It's the only detection here for Trigger besides that Photon Cannon. He's going to blink forward, try and take down this army, but I think the Cyclones just have too much damage.
The Cyclones, Pappy, they're popping off.
Just barely. Maybe got enough?
No, dude. I don't think there's a chance.
Oh,
yeah,
I meant
just
Cure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Cure is barreling
that's a sneaky way to cast. I just say, like, I think he's going to win, and then if he crit me, I go, no, not that, the other guy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he did it, dude.
What a game from Cure. That was one of the most bizarre TvPs I've ever seen.
Now, listen, guys, here's the moral of the story today, okay? All the Zerg players are ready to cry because they thought that Raynor was going to get eliminated. They had their box of tissues. They were ready to cry. And then Raynor survived, and he's still in the RSL, so you can't bitch and moan yet. And then the Terrans went, well, it's okay because we're going to cry because Cure's going to get eliminated. And they had their box of tissues, and they were getting their Reddit posts there. They were spell checking it because they don't want to look dumb. And then Cure won. So neither of you can complain until tomorrow.
They're spending too much time on the SC2 Reddit.
Yeah, one of them is.
Raynor was favored against Mario. What are you talking about? What? I'm impressed that Mario went all the way to the X match against Raynor. Not gonna lie.
3 Protoss in the top 4, top 3, whatever it is.
Tomorrow, one race will be eliminated. And
but GG, well played. With that, we are wrapping up for today's broadcast. Raynor takes on Maru 3-2. Cure takes on Trigger 3-1 as well. But honestly, that could have gone either way. Like, again, Trigger, he had what it took. He had what it takes to on Tokamak to win that game. He had almost maxed out. He had a massive army, but he did fumble the ball. He did kind of blunder the attack at the third, as we mentioned. He had, what, 5-6 Immortals. He rushed in, and he pushed without the Immortals. The Immortals, they were waddling in from behind, and by the time they arrived, everything was already dead. So just a little bit of a mistimed or kind of mishandled attack there out of Trigger. He lost everything. It meant that Cure was able to stabilize from there and snowball out of control and claim the win. And that means that, hey, we have our next set of matches. We have our top 4. Top 4 for the tournament. We have Xanon Classic and Raynor and Cure. So we have our top 4 players. Again, tomorrow's broadcast will be continuing this. It's going to be 4 days. 4 days straight of RSL, and we just wrapped up with the first day. Quickly catching up with our schedule here. Bam. You can see we just wrapped up on Thursday's broadcast. On Friday, we have more RSL. Saturday, we have more RSL. And Sunday, we have the grand finals of RSL. So 4 days straight of Revival StarCraft League. When it comes to other casts here on the channel, you can see that we have the KSL. The Green StarCraft League is going to be on Saturday, and we have the Pondcast in like 5 minutes. The Pondcast is our weekly talk show. Every single week we have a podcast where we go over all things StarCraft news, StarCraft adjacent news as well, all covered on the Pondcast, and that is going to be starting up as soon as we wrap up here. So we're going to be heading off. The stream is going to go down for like a minute. Don't go anywhere. If you want to tune into the podcast, don't go anywhere. The stream is going to go down, then it's going to bam, then bam, it's going to go right back up. And we'll be jumping into the podcast. There's going to be like a 15-minute timer, so you have some time to get some snacks, get some food, and get ready. When it comes to tonight's podcast episode, what do we have to discuss? I've been so engrossed in TLMC, I just have not been able to look at the topic list. But here we go, the podcast. We have the SC4 all true. We have the new LAN announced in the Americas. We of course have the Starfest qualifiers around the corner. We do have TLMC. It's true, the team TLMC map contest finalists were announced, and we had Wardy hosting the 2v2 tournaments previously to showcase those maps. So that's going to be another thing. We have another LAN event going on as well, Groundswell. I'm a little bit unfamiliar. And of course, we have all the tournaments. I believe we have wrapped up the Murloc Chijik tournaments. We have the Patches Patch Clash. We have Kung Fu Cup monthly, all of the regular weeklies, plenty of StarCraft to discuss, to go over, and to catch up with the podcast. So there you go. There you go. Again, we're going to be catching up with that in a couple of minutes, as we do on a weekly basis, as we always do here on the CranKy Ducklings. So we'll see you guys soon. It's over for today. This RSL is over for today, but we're going to be back in a couple of minutes. So again, take this time to get some snacks, get some food, get some water. If you want to tune into the podcast, and don't go anywhere because we're going to be live soon. The stream is going to go down, but don't worry, it'll be right back up. And thanks for watching, and hope you all enjoy some more RSL over the course of the next couple of days. As I mentioned before, the RSL is funded by the people for the people. I do feel like it's a little bit lacking just in terms of their the production setup that they have. I do think that, hey, if you have a studio, if you have a live venue in Korea, I feel like it's it's a good idea to make use of that. It's a good idea to make a little bit more of the show. Again, this was under 3 hours. It was under a 3-hour cast. We can pad it out back. We can get some content, we get some interviews going, we can bring in a translator, we can bring in some of the Koreans. Again, you're in Korea, you got all these players around you as well. We can have some in-studio matches or some guests showing up alongside them, have some blasts from the past, Validas, Wolf, some of the other content creators and casters out there in Korea. I hope that they're able to take advantage of that, make use of that in some way, shape, or form. And I wish RSL the best when it comes to how they grow throughout the course of the coming year. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys after the break with the podcast. See you soon. Bye. See you soon.